Hello crafters! Today we're going to be making this lacy hearts bandana, and I used Hobie Friends Cotton 8-4, and this was in color Candy Floss. Today I'll be showing you how to make it in the same yarn but in the color dark magenta, and I'm using a 2.5mm hook. You'll also need a hairpin lace loom. If you've never done hairpin lace before, don't worry, we'll start slow, so this could be your first hairpin lace project. But I have my loom set to like slightly less than 2.5 inches wide. Start by making a slip knot, and then we're going to put this onto our hairpin lace loom. So slide that on, leave the slip knot loose, and then have your working yarn on top, and then close your hairpin lace loom. Alright, we should be set up like this now, and now you're going to insert your hook here, grab your working yarn, wrap it around like this, hold your loose thread so that we can keep this centered. We want our thing as centered as we can when we are first starting, and I'm just making a chain stitch. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put my hook upside down and then flip it to the other side. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to flip the hairpin lace loom as if I'm flipping a page of a book. So I'm going to do that. And now I'm going to insert my hook into the loop on this side, and I'm going to pull the yarn through and make a single crochet. I'm going to show you that again slowly. So I'm going to take my hook, turn it upside down, flip it to the other side, and then I'm going to flip the hairpin lace loom as if flipping a page of a book, and then I'm going to insert my hook into the loop and make a single crochet. And that's how we get started with the basic hairpin lace. This looks looser than I would like because it's a little awkward filming it, but this is the start. You should now have 2 loops on each side, so here's 2 loops on this side, and then the 2 loops on this side, and I've got a stitch marker on the second loop. This will make things easier later. And now we can go ahead and start with our first heart by chaining 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now we're going to make 4 treble crochets in the 4th chain from our hook, which will be 1, 2, 3, 4. So this is the 4th chain, and then you would have 2 chains left after that. So we're going to make 4 treble crochets into that 4th chain. Wrap your yarn around twice, insert your hook. Oops. There we go. One, 2, 3, and 4. In the next chain, we're going to do 1 double crochet, and 1 half double crochet. And then in the last chain, we're going to make 2 single crochets, Now I'm going to chain 1, and I'm going to insert my hook into the front loop of the last single crochet we made and into the side loop of it, and I'm going to do a slip stitch. Okay, so we're like halfway through with the heart, and what I'm just going to do is twist everything around to the other side. Okay, so it's a little awkward to show, but this is how it looks right now, and I just have it like this so I can work on the other side. I like to keep this yarn behind the loom. I just find that easier. Some people find it easier to work in front of the loom though. And we're just going to do the same thing on the other side of the chain. It can be a little tedious finding that first one, but here it is. And I'm going to make 2 single crochets. You could definitely put a stitch marker in this stitch in that other side of the chain to make it easier to find, especially if you're a beginner. So there's the 2 single crochets, and then in the next bump I will make a half double crochet, and then a double crochet in that same chain. And now in the last one I will make the 4 half double crochets again. Oops. There's one. There's 2. There's 3. And here's 4. Now I will chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and I will slip stitch into the same space that I did all those trebles. And then I'll tighten that. And here is the first heart. And now we're going to continue making the basic hairpin lace loops. So I'll show you, it's a little wonky with the first one right after the heart, but flip your hook to the other side like you did before. Flip the hairpin lace over. And then here's the heart. I like to hold the heart while I'm doing this so it doesn't end up too sideways. Insert your hook into the loop and make your single crochet. And then let's do that again. Going back to the front and make a single crochet. And then just make sure you didn't do it too tight so that the heart's not like squinched up. But you can see there is more space with your hearts than your normal ones without hearts. So we're going to keep making the basic hairpin lace until you have 6 more loops on the side with the stitch marker, which means you'll also have 6 more loops on the side without the stitch marker too. So you can see I've gone around twice and I've got 2 loops. I'm going to keep working. I'll show the third one. Okay. You've got 3 loops so far. 1, 2, 3. Keep working until you have 6. Okay, so here's where that first stitch marker is, and then we can count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we have 6 loops, and that's how many loops I like to do between the hearts. So I'll go ahead and put another stitch marker right there and start my other heart by chaining 6. I've worked my heart, and then I've worked 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 more loops, and then I'm going to put a stitch marker on the 6th loop, and then I'll start my third heart with the same chain 6. And you will keep working like this until you have 5 hearts, and then after your last heart you will only make 2 more loops. I'll show you what that looks like. Real quick, how I flip the hearts again after being halfway through with a heart. I just move it like this, and then I take the working thread and I just put it like that, still underneath the loom, but now like on the other side, and then I keep working on the other side. Okay, you can see here I have 5 hearts, and here's my last stitch marker, and then just 1, 2 loops for the final heart. So I'm going to cut the yarn and then pull it through one more time to fasten off. And now you've done the longest part of this tutorial. Let's take a look at the finished bandana so you can see how to do the rest. You'll need to make 8 more lace strips. 2 will have only 4 hearts, and after your last heart you're going to add 4 more loops. On this one we just had 2. This one you'll be doing 4. And then your 3 heart one, and these all start exactly the same way as the first one. Your 3 heart one, you will end that off with 6 extra loops. And then your 2 heart one, you'll end that with 8 extra loops up here, and then your 1 heart, you will end that with 10 extra loops up here. So go ahead and make your other lace strips. I honestly like to just make one more at a time and go ahead and connect it. So I'm going to do a 4 heart one and show you how to connect them. Now we're going to start connecting the lace strips. I like to use a slightly bigger hook for this. I'm using a 3mm hook to do this. So you start on the one closer to you, and you pick that up, and then you take the one on this side and you just pull it through. And then you take another one on the side closest to you and you pull that through. Then you take one on the opposite side and pull it through. And we take the next one and pull it through. And take the next one on this side, pull it through, and you're essentially kind of like braiding them together. So continue on down. Once you've pulled through the last loop on your shorter one, you should have 4 loops left on the longer one. And then, just so this doesn't come undone while you're working on more strips or have a crazy cat, you can put a stitch marker into that last loop there, and yeah, that's how you attach it. Pretty, and I think it makes a very pretty design. It looks really good and like drapey on your head, I promise. So yeah, make your strips, attach them, and then we'll move on to the border. That's what the bandana should look like once you've attached all of your lace strips. And I like to start right here for the border. So I'm just going to roll this around, and we're on this end, which is the right end of the bandana. So here I'll be starting at the right end of the bandana, and I like to start right here through these 3 loops. There's 3 more loops on this side and 6 more on this side, but I'll just take a slip knot and put it on my hook and pull it through these 3 loops here. Oops. Just to connect my new yarn. Then I will chain 1, and I'll still be working through these 3 loops on my hook, and I'll be making 3 single crochets into them. 1, 2, and 3. Now I'll be taking the next 3 loops and making 3 single crochets into these loops. So here's these 3 loops here. 1, 2, and 3. Next, you can go ahead and turn your bandana so that you're working along the top of the bandana. And I'm just going to work into this top, around this top strand of yarn here, and make 5 single crochets into that. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then what I'm going to do is work into this top single crochet stitch here. Might be a little tight to get into it. And make 1 single crochet into that stitch. Next, I'll be working over this loose thread here and also into this top loop here, and I'm going to make 3 single crochets. 1, 2, 3, and then if you can see here, this kind of becomes the new top loop of the section, so I'll just make 2 single crochets into there. 1, 2, and then I'm going to make 1 single crochet in this like connector part where we braided together the lace strips. So 1 single crochet in there. And now I'm going to repeat the same thing, still crocheting over this loose thread, and then I've got these like top strands. I'm going to put 3 single crochets into here. 1, 2, 3, and then you can see sometimes it doesn't seem like anything becomes the new top strand, so I'll just keep working and make 2 more into this same loop. So that's like 5 single crochets, and then I'll make 1 single crochet into the single crochet, and then I'll start crocheting over this loose thread, but I'll continue. So you can see here how it will continue. I'll put 3 single crochets in here, 2 in here, 1 in here, and then 5 in here, and 1 in here. You're basically putting 5 between your either single crochets or this braided part, and 1 single crochet in the braid and the single crochet, and work that across. Okay, I'm on the last little leg of the top part, and I'm going to make 5 single crochets around this loop and this loose thread here. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And now I'm going to turn my work so that I'm working down along this lace strip, and I'm going to insert my hook into this first loop that we also did the 5 single crochets in. Then I'm going to insert it into another one and another one for a total of 3, and I'm going to make 3 single crochets through all of these. 1, 2, 3, and now I'm going to grab 3 more loops. 1, 2, 3, and I will make 3 single crochets in these. 1, 2, 3, and now instead of grabbing 3, I'm just going to grab 2 loops, 1, 2, but I'm still going to make 3 single crochets into these. There's 2 and 3. Then I'm going to grab 2 more loops, 1, 2, and make 3 single crochets again. 1, 2, and 3. Next, I'll work into the last 2 loops on this side and make 3 single crochets. 1, 2, 3, and now into this top loop, I'll make 3 more single crochets, just working through 1. 1, 2, 3, and now we can see here where the lace tapes were attached. We have like a top strand that we can work in, and we can work 3 single crochets into that top strand. 1, 2, 3, and then you can see where we have our stitch marker. We're going to remove the stitch marker, and we're going to work 3 single crochets into that loop. 1, 2, 3. Now we're going to move on to the loops of the next lace tape, which should have 4 free loops, and you're going to grab the first 2 and make 3 single crochets. 1, 2, 3, grab the next 2 and make 3 more single crochets. 1, 2, 3, and now we're going to just take the top strand and work 3 more single crochets into that. 1, 2, 3, and now we're going to look on this side here for a top strand and work 3 single crochets into that. 1, 2, 3. Now you can remove this stitch marker here. You can insert your hook into it and make 3 single crochets into that. 1, 2, 3, and then you'll be at your next lace tape with 4 loose strands. You'll work in 2 and you'll make 3 single crochets, and continue working down your bandana as we have. Okay, I've reached the bottom of the bandana and I've done the 2 loops on this side, and now I'm going to do just the 3 single crochet across the 1 strand. 1, 2, 3, and now I'm going to do the 3 single crochet across 1 strand on the other side. 1, 2, 3, and now we can turn this, and we're going to work the strand we just did those 3 single crochets in, and then the next strand, those 2, and I'm going to make 3 single crochets. 1, 2, and 3. And then I'm going to take the last 2 strands, or loops, and I'm also going to make 3 single crochets in those. 1, 2, 3, and now we're going to remove this stitch marker and make 3 single crochets in that loop. 1, 2, 3, and now what we're going to do is kind of like we did before, but you're kind of, you know, going up instead of down, so there'll be 3 single crochets here, 3 single crochets in, oops, that's a loose thread, across here, and then you'll go in your 2 loops, the stitch marker with the 3 across the bottom, then the 3 in each of the 2 loops, and work your way up that way. Once you've made it all the way around, you can slip stitch into the first single crochet you made. Now I'm going to chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and then I'm going to make 2 double crochets into the same stitch. One, 2, and then I'm going to skip 1, 2 stitches and slip stitch into the third one. Now I'm going to chain 3 again. And make 2 double crochets in the same stitch. Skip 1, 2 stitches and slip stitch into the third. And now I've reached the top corner of my bandana, so I'm going to chain 60 for the strap and meet you back after that. Okay, I've chained 60, and now I'm just going to be working into the back bumps of the chain. I'm going to insert my hook into the second one from my hook and make a single crochet. And I'm going to continue working down the back bumps of the chain, making single crochets. And it should look like this. Cute, like there's the top and there's the bottom of the chain. It's a cute effect from working into these back bumps of the chain. So continue down like that. Once you've made it all the way down your chain, you can just single crochet into the next stitch, and then you will just continue single crocheting across the bandana until you get to the next corner. Real quick tip, you know these loose ends, we crocheted over them going this way? Well, you can put them back against your work as you're crocheting and crochet them over them again, going in the opposite direction you went last time, which will just make them more secure, and then you'll have less loose ends to weave in. So that's what I'll be doing. And then this like teensy little bit, you know, I'll just cut that off later and I won't have to worry about any of the top loose ends. This is the end of the corner. You should note that there's 1, 2, 3 stitches here, and we want to make sure we're ending right here so that everything lines up with the border. So go ahead and chain 60 and do your single crochets back down the chain. Once you've made it down the chain, just slip stitch into the next single crochet. And then we're going to begin working on the shell border again by doing that chain 3, 2 double crochets in the same stitch, 1 and 2, and then skipping 1, 2 stitches and slip stitching into the third, and continue down until you get to the bottom corner of your bandana. Okay, I've reached the bottom center of my bandana, so now I'm going to chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and I'm going to make a double crochet in the same stitch. Then I'm going to chain 2, 1, 2, and make another double crochet in the same stitch. and then I'm going to chain 3 again, 1, 2, 3, and then I'm going to, still in the same stitch, make a slip stitch. And then I'm going to continue making the shells from here with the chain 3 and then the 2 double crochets. All of this is still in the same stitch. Oops. And then I'm going to skip 2 stitches and slip stitch in the 3rd, and I'm going to continue my shells going down. Okay, here I've made my last shell, and here's 1, 2 stitches, and then I'm going to slip stitch into this 3rd stitch here. And then you can cut your yarn, pull it through. Here is the lacy heart bandana. Thank you for watching. Please like if you liked this video, or subscribe if you want to see more. Bye!